I just want to let you know about a couple of things. One, there's two forms of stealing. Bad stealing is when you take from one source, and good stealing is when you take from many sources. And I know that because I stole that from Austin Kleon, okay? So I kind of picture myself as a modern-day Robin Hood. I steal from the information rich, and I give it to you, the time poor. And that's how we do this. And like many of you, I have a humble dream. I have a little dream that I, too, want to be a Silicon Valley billionaire, right? But not that kind of billionaire, more like the Jason Silva billionaire, which isn't, your wealth isn't measured by what's in your bank account. It's measured by the lives that you touch on planet Earth. And I want to be a billionaire so badly in that kind of way. So in essence, my business is to help people learn how to value themselves and how to communicate their value to others. And this isn't just a pie-in-the-sky dream. It's not a fantasy, because I know that a dream with a plan is a goal, and that's the formula. A dream with a plan is a goal. So I want to let you know what the definition of my goal is, what success looks like. What I want to be able to do is to create a platform that provides education from all, no matter where you come from, no matter how old you are or how young you are. And that means that we need to make education really affordable, something that we're working on every single day. And we want to be able to attract the best teachers, because when you have the best teachers, the best students show up and they attract the best teachers again. And we want to be able to embrace technology and drag education out of the 19th century and bring it to the 21st century. And that means that we'll also be inventing new pedagogical models. That's the theory of teaching, right? And if we're able to do this, the byproduct of what we're going to be able to do, the byproduct of our success will be to disrupt the education system. That's what we want to do. And my hope, because my youngest boy is here, he's up front, he's 13 years old now. So by the time he's 18, we'll have built a truly viable alternative to the current education system that exists. Okay, good. I'm making sure the slides are right there. Okay, so over the last 5 years, I've been experimenting with this education platform, building our audience. I want to share some of the lessons that we've learned and how we were able to escape the system. And in doing so, we've been able to grow our company 300% year over year since 2014. And if all goes well, if all goes according to the plan, we will never work with another client ever again. That's the dream, you guys. That's the dream. I wish it for all of you if that's possible. Okay, so the focus of my talk today is really about how to grow your audience, how to gain influence, and to get known. Because people hire people that they know, like, and trust. Okay, but before I do that, I just want to share with you my short origin creation story. I love teaching. Nothing makes me feel more alive than teaching. And on occasion, my wife would accompany me at school. And she would sit in class, and she's a designer too. And as soon as class is over, I'm very eager to get in the car with her. I'm really looking forward to that part, because when we drive, I get to ask her, so, give me the feedback, how was I? Because if you know anything about Asian women, they're not shy to tell you how they really feel. And there's no sandwich technique. It's all meat in the middle, okay? So I dare to ask her, even though I know what's coming. I'm driving. I'm like, so, what'd you think? How was class today? And it's a long drive from Pasadena to Santa Monica. It's a long drive, you guys. And she said, well, you know, you're really good at teaching. It's amazing to watch you teach, but there's that word but. She became a butthole right there. But do you ever get tired of teaching the same thing over and over again? Do you think you want to teach more people than the 11 students who can afford to pay this very high education? And if I'm being honest, she says to me, I'm not sure you're living up to your potential. You could hear my teeth grinding, right, when I tell that story? My potential? Like, what? What? You know, I started feeling all kinds of things, but I didn't say anything. I was just driving. Turned up the volume a little bit on the radio. I was getting angry, frustrated, and resentful inside. And I was thinking, you know, at this point in time in my life, I'd already been teaching for 15 years at Art Center, a very prestigious design school, the one that I went to. So what do you mean I'm not living up to my potential? Then I started to realize I was slipping into the 5 stages of grieving. Some people don't know, so I'm going to show you. You go through denial and isolation. You feel angry. You start to bargain. You want to make deals with people. You get really depressed. And then finally, if you're smart enough, you just accept. And I gotta let you know, if you're curious, acceptance has a very bitter taste to it. So I want to give you guys a low-tech life hack right now, which is whenever you're facing something, an idea scares you, just skip steps 1 through 4. Just go straight to accepting. Yes, ma'am, can I have another? Okay? So she put this idea inside my mind, but I didn't know how to do this. I was so used to doing it a certain way. I knew she was right, I just didn't know how. So luck would have it, a few months later, I was at a meeting and I ran into an old friend of mine, and my spider sense was really tingling. This old friend was a classmate from school. And the event happened, not quite like this, it's not as dramatic, but I didn't know it at the time, but he would later on become my mentor and then my nemesis. And that's how these stories go, right? His name is Jose. And he's like, Chris Do, let's start an education company together. It's like, you want this too, and I want this? Maybe we should join forces and try this thing out and see what happens. He says, okay, we're gonna make products, we're gonna sell products, but in order to do that, we have to get onto YouTube. You know, top of the funnel awareness? I'm like, what? Top of the funnel awareness? We're gonna make videos, that's how people are gonna get to know us, and then they'll buy our products. And I felt funny about it for a lot of different reasons. Because at this point in time in my life, I'm used to being behind the camera, not in front of the camera. And I started to rationalize and think it through, like the pros and cons, like a dutiful Asian person. Like, what are we gonna do? And I thought to myself, you know, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna look like a fool, and I don't even know what I'm gonna say, and will anybody even care? And I had a lot riding on the line, because at that point, we probably were about 18 years into our business and had clients who might see something and me to say it and offend them. That would be really, really bad. So as far as I can tell, lots of risk, low upside potential. What am I gonna do? So I went searching for answers. Sought the advice of the oracle, you know, Twitter. Twitter told me, after some searching, and I came upon this tweet from Jeff Bezos. Failure and invention are inseparable twins. In order to do something new, we must be willing to fail. We must be willing to lose it all. And everything seemed so uncertain, unclear at that point. I was thinking to myself, your name is Chris Do. It's not Chris Don't. Yeah, all right. Thank you, guys. You're very generous. All right. And saying yes in this moment changed my life forever. So I just want to let you guys know, that's what your courage is for. So when something is really scary, you should say yes. Lose it all? Yes. Scared to death? Yes. Just say yes. Unless it's the Tide Pod Challenge, then say no. But everything else, say yes. Well, not for the hot water challenge either. That you say no, okay? Yes, I know. Okay, so here are things I've learned. So I just want to let you guys know this is the time when the photos might get going, okay? So here's the first part. Networking is who you know, right? Networking is who you know. But influence is who knows you. And this is the part we want to focus on, how to get people to know you. And I love this quote, I think it's from John Maxwell. He says, to be an interesting person, you have to be interested in people. So you have to get to know people if you want people to know you. So the first rule is stop selling, start serving. This was key to the biggest breakthrough in our channel. At that point in time, we had about 1,300 subscribers. And this is one thing that I learned, that the internet is a vast free media playground. It's the first mass communication platform that wasn't specifically invented to sell advertising. So the rule is social media is not a license to spam. And back then, we just made videos to sell our products, so nobody tuned in, nobody cared, because it was a thinly disguised commercial. So what we need to do is when we make videos, we need to inform or entertain, and if you can do both, you're doing really good. So people want help. They want you to help them improve their lives. So do something to improve their lives. So this is the first time where I actually sat down, wrote a piece of content with no other purpose than to improve people's lives, to teach them something that I knew. So we didn't sell. And what happened was the views went up. People tuned in. They started to care. And then, slowly but surely, this video became the #1 search result for identity design and a top 10 search result for branding. Okay, so if you don't want to tune into anything else, this is the part you probably want to pay attention to. The rest of it just supports this, okay? There's just 4 little rules here. Be consistent. That means you show up every single day and give it your best. You be a professional. To give generously with 0 expectations of anybody reciprocating anything to you. And lastly, be respectful of people's times. So whatever you make, consider that they're giving you their most valuable resource, their time. Now, we all know this. Every company here has customers. But the few great companies have an audience. Now, here's the difference between an audience and a customer, okay? That in order to get customers to pay attention, you have to pay them to pay attention. Whereas an audience is excited to give you their TNA, their time and attention. It's also known as a true fan. Kevin Kelly's definition of a true fan is somebody that will buy anything from you. That's it. And all you need is 1,000 true fans to give you $100 to have a 6-figure income. Yeah, it's not that hard, guys. 1,000 true fans. Oh, you guys are like, that's pretty hard. I'm sorry. I'm being insensitive right now. I'm sorry. Okay. And they'll buy anything that you make. Here's a couple other ways you can test to see if they're true fans. One is they'll drive over 200 miles or 322 kilometers to come see you speak or at a concert. And I just want to give a shout out to Chelsea out here from Newcastle, Australia, right? They'll buy your book, your ebook, and your audiobook of the same book, right? They'll pay for the video compilation of the videos you already give out for free. That is a true fan. A true fan would shoot another true fan watching you and send it to you, which is pretty crazy. And if you could tell, this is in Oslo, Norway. What are the odds that 2 fans are riding the same train and doing this? Pretty cool. So what you need to do in exchange for their time and attention is to give tremendous value. And when you do that, something awesome happens. So this was a joke, started out as a joke. People started saying, I feel guilty for watching the videos. I feel like I cheated. So this hashtag began, hashtag 10%. And this kid on Twitter reached out to me, said, Chris, I want to be the first person to send you 10%. Uncle Chris, we're going to take care of you. And he said, it's not a lot of money. I don't think much of it, except for one day, I get this envelope, and I open it up, and sure enough, it was a check. It was a tiny amount. I go home and tell my wife, honey, you just won't believe what happened. If you look at what's inside this envelope, you may cry. She tears up, open the envelope, she looks at it, and it's like, oh my God. Did you see what he wrote in the memo? I'm like, no. If you look in there, I didn't even see that part. I was just focused on the $12.50. The memo says, for a better life. Then she tells me, you can't keep this check. The kid is sending you a $12.50 check. Send it back to him. Cancel this. I said, I can't do that. What an insult that would be. Like, that's not enough for me. So I cashed it. Okay. All right, here's another thing you need to know, that marketing isn't about selling. It's the generous act of helping other people achieve their goals, not your goal. It's the generous act of helping other people achieve their goals. It's an opportunity to serve. And the way that you can do this is you can ask yourself a couple of questions. Who are they? What are their hopes and fears? What do they dream of becoming? What change do they seek? Now, you can even do this if you got a really boring job like an insurance broker. Look at this note here. I paid your parking meter for you. Imagine what else I'm willing to do to protect your car. That, to me, is somebody who understands their customer. Okay, now I know that I'm speaking to a large UX, UI design community. You guys know about empathy graphs, empathy maps. You know how to do this kind of stuff. So once you identify who these people are, look for the gaps. Okay, sorry, did I go too fast? There we go. Use all your creative energy, your curiosity, empathy, and imagination. Identify the task, the gap, and the opportunity. It would look something like this, okay? You go through their life, a day in their life, and you write down everything they're trying to do that day, at home and at work. And you try to imagine, like, what's getting in their way of achieving this. This is the gap. and then use the rest of it to write down ideas that you can generate. Now, you could use this for anything, for marketing. You could use it to develop products, physical or otherwise. Now, I want to let you guys know how we found our audience. So the first part is this. We knew that there are a lot of really young, charismatic people on YouTube. They're largely inexperienced, and they didn't have any real knowledge, but they were very charismatic. Then we knew that there are these celebrated designers who are too busy and too indifferent to get onto YouTube because that was beneath them. But they were professional and they had the experience. So immediately we saw that gap. We could fill that gap. The second part we saw is this, is that teachers want the best students. They want to make a difference because that's why they got into teaching in the first place, not to make money. They want relevancy. They want to develop intellectual property and build a passive income if possible. And they want some flexibility. Do I have to show up today or can I do this remotely? Students want something very similar. If you can see the two, they almost line up. Students want the best teachers. They want to get a job. They want the most relevant content and get the highest return on investment. And they also want some flexibility. We're going to fill that gap. Okay, next point. People don't fall in love with corporations. You're going to do this, some audience participation of this next part. People fall in love with... Okay, it's not a unanimous crowd here. I heard people fall in love with gaps. That was kind of meta. Okay, I don't know about that. Okay, people don't fall in love with corporations. They fall in love with personalities. Okay, so you need to find your voice. You got to find your voice. And I love this bit, right? So you guys know who Hassan Minhaj is? He has a show on Netflix, Patriot Act. It's amazing. So I was watching the show, and he was talking about something. I was like, this is genius. It's complete genius. He puts up his face as a pie chart. He says, those of you guys that know me know that I'm 65% hip-hop. And that the 17%, the rest of me is really about hair products and mid-90s NBA references and intense eye contact. I was thinking, what a wonderful way to define your own personal brand and your voice. And there was something really interesting because it was the first time I saw a mainstream comedian talk about his brown culture, going to UC Davis and hating UC Santa Cruz, and bringing in some Hindi, I think, and doing the whole uncle thing. And I loved it. So when I watched him, he gave me permission to be myself, to embrace you and all the weird parts about you. Because the truth is, people out there are searching for belonging, and they're trying to find their tribe. So I thought maybe I should try it on my own self. There's my head. What's that look like? So 68% Swiss modern typography, 18% snapback caps, that's the way it's got to go, 11% skin care products, designer eyewear, and 0.01% hair product. My son's like, Dad, you don't use hair product. I'm like, that's why it's 0.01. And you could use this for so many different things, right? 68% Helvetica now, 18% Champion Gothic, Futura Bold Din, and everything else. So I want to encourage you to make your own face chart and figure it out. So I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you some prompts, okay? One is think about the things that you're really passionate about. That pretty much makes the entire face chart for Hassan. What are your physical attributes? The weird things that people say, dude, you remind me of that. That's what you write down. Your history, where you come from, your ethnicity, all the parts that you were kind of ashamed of when you were a kid, celebrate now. What skills do you have? What are you good at? And what makes you quirky? The things that make you not normal make you unique in the world. And then use that as a voice or creation filter. When you make something, push it through that funnel and see what comes out. I have some examples to share with you. My son writes me this note, Dad, can you snuggle later when mommy goes to sleep and calls you? Yeah, I could do that. But I could turn this into a Twitter post instead. So you just mark it up. That's my filter, right? I'm a dad, a typographer, and a nut job. Why not, right? And then I love these like little Massimo Vignelli Canon things, right? And I'm searching on Pinterest for these things, and they're poorly designed. Massimo would be turning over in his grave. So I redesigned them in the spirit of Massimo. So forever, if you do it right, it will last forever. And a grid is like underwear. You wear it, but it's not to be exposed. And then I started to take that and started to take Paul Rand posters and just put his thoughts in. The design is so simple. That's why it's so complicated, right? I can't even read this one. What does it say? Don't try to be original, just try to be good. So when you do these things, sometimes you agitate other designers, and I like to do it on purpose. So the two most hated typefaces, you guys know what's coming. Comic Sans. I had my intern work on it for a month and a half to design me a poster that didn't suck using Comic Sans. There it is. Right? For the Matrix. And then it's like, what's the other one? Papyrus. Yes, you guys know. You want to say it, but you won't say it. Will he go there? Yes, I did go there. Papyrus. Just to agitate emotions because I want to push buttons. Okay, so that means I'm not afraid to be polarizing. So here are the 4 traits of being an attractive character. You guys ready? Here we go. 1 is you have to have a compelling backstory. That's why I told you mine. 2, you have to have character flaws, obviously. 3 are the parables, the stories that you use to teach lessons in. And the last one, the one that people struggle with the most, is to be polarizing. You have to take a stand. And, come on, okay, you have to be able to take that risk and stand for something. Because what you do when you're polarizing is you incite people's passions, you stir their emotions, you fire people up, you get them to do something. So I love this campaign from Nike. It's only a crazy dream until you do it. With Serena Williams and Colin Kaepernick. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. And then, of course, the Avengers Infinity version of that, which is believe in something, even if it means sacrificing half of everything, right? It's that good. Okay, sorry, spoiler alert. Okay. All right, here we go. So what you want to do is get people to choose a side. Are you on Team Apple? Yes. Or Team PC? Okay. Are you a Marvel person or a DC person? Are you a Newhouse Grotesque person or Helvetica Now person? You see, there's dilemmas, choices to be made. What you don't want to do is to be stuck in the middle because the middle is boring, it's bland, it's generic, and nobody cares. People are indifferent about the middle. Love me, hate me, I prefer one or the other, okay? Now, here's an example. I don't know if you guys are aware of Wendy's, the Twitter account. Savage, okay? Turns out that Amy Brown was doing the tweets, and she started noticing that McDonald's and their competitors were very corporate mumbo-jumbo talk. And these tweets went viral because it was so refreshing, because it was not corporate. So let me share some of those with you, relationship advice, right? I want Wendy's, but my girlfriend wants McDonald's. What do I do? Wendy's response, they're plenty of fish in the sea. Okay, I know, it's brutal. Bros. Okay, here we go. McDonald's is better at freezing beef. Retroactive storytelling, those guys in my workshop. Okay. Why is your beef square? Because we don't cut corners. So good, right? Okay. Going to In-N-Out, what should I get? Out. Oh my God, okay, here's the last one, I think. This is the last one. So this is Eric. He's like, I hope every person who ever thought I would fail sees this. So he's proud, he's got his seat warmers, he's got the McDonald's bag. Okay. And then Wendy says back, looks at the logo on bag. You failed. Right? It's great. So if you want to get known, take a side, choose a lane, and commit to it. It'll be okay. Okay? So I love this from Dr. Jordan Peterson. He says, to think you have to risk being offensive. That's what critical thinking is. The friction that exists between what you think and what I think, that's where it exists. Okay? Now, the best place to find this critical thinking is Troll Universe, Twitter. It is the best place. So I'm going to share with you my content strategy. Okay? This is where people just engage in vitriolic debate. It doesn't even matter if they know you or not. Okay? Here's the content strategy. I've been using this and it's been awesome so far. Okay? What I want to do is try an idea out, so I'll write something on Twitter. It forces me to write in really condensed format, and I sit around like a person who's fishing. I'm waiting for the trolls to come out and attack it. What they do is they help you write your own thought. They're like, you shouldn't say this, you should say this, and this is the wrong choice of words, and you just watch and you engage. And then you take the new learning and you retweet it back out. And if it works again, what I then do is I take that, I turn it into a graphic, I post it on Facebook and LinkedIn, I write more about it. And if that works, I'm going to go and record a video. So all I'm doing is converting one kind of energy to another. And you don't have to write a video. Like Pablo said, you can write a Medium post and save your career. And I want to remind you about this, okay? Conversations are supposed to be bi-directional, meaning you put something out and you react. So we're having that dialogue. So many people get this wrong. They put something out in the universe, they don't read anything, they don't respond to anything. That's not a conversation. So read the comments. They'll tell you what they want from you. Okay, here's a strategy for long-form content, okay? So we do a lot of long-form content. Take a big piece of content, chop it up into tiny little pieces, put that out everywhere, on every platform, and see what bites, see what people engage with. You could even ask them to timestamp the videos so that you know what they're reacting to. And then what you want to do is reframe that, possibly re-edit it, and put a new title on it based on what people connect with. That's the formula. You just do that over and over again. And then, when you have a video that you think is hot, spend a little bit of money and boost it to like audiences, people who like this, all right? Whew, I'm out of time. Okay, I'm gonna rush through this last part here. So what we wanna do is to out-teach the competition, because big companies are obsessed with secrecy. That is the old way to do it. You don't want to be the best kept secret in Silicon Valley, for sure, okay? So give them the tour of the factory, an insider's peek, take them behind the scenes, and show them how the sausage is made. They'll become your true fans. I'm gonna give you an example here. I was in a W hotel in Taipei. I made a video on their branding. It was great. I have nothing to do with their branding, but we are the #1 search result when you type in W hotel branding for video. Okay, think like a chef, okay? Chefs literally give away all their secrets. So what are your recipes, secret sauce, mystery ingredient? Teach people how to make what you make. And this could look like research, reference, drawings, plans, sketches, interviews, photography, journals, notebooks, prototypes, demos, diagrams, scrapbooks, how-to videos. What you want to do is to start writing your cookbook, okay? But then you sit there and say, well, I have nothing to say. What am I going to do? Well, then you've heard this expression, teach what you know. And then you get into this existential crisis and say, well, what is knowing anyways, right? So that can be daunting. Like, I don't know that, really. How could I teach that? So let's revise the phrase, teach while you learn. Now, everybody can do that, teach while you learn. So a little while ago, we launched a topography course, and to my amazement, a $149 course did 6 figures during the launch. And here's the thing. Days before I would do each recording, each lecture, I would just read just enough so I didn't sound like an idiot. And nobody has complained, okay? Here's the thing. Experts forget the struggle. They skip over the important steps. Everything is so easy for them. But the beginner's mindset, teaching while you learn, you're curious, you're more relatable, you're honest, you're transparent. You make discoveries and you create artifacts. You rediscover it again with your audience while you're sharing it with them. And they're very gracious when you tell them up front, okay? Seek progress, not perfection. Because we know that perfection can paralyze, because big ideas take a long time to make, and we need the help of others to make them happen. We need money, we need resources, and it's very hard to start. And I love this from Seth Godin. He says, whoever fails the most wins. You want to play the game forever, for as long as possible, by making small gambles. So make tiny decisions. It's easier to change course. And guess what? There's no catastrophic ending if you get it wrong. So here's the just two rule. Apply the just two rule. Okay, it goes something like this. Just to the sign. Just to the car. Just to the light post. Set small milestones and hit them. Progress is contagious and momentum is built. That means that you can take a 12-week project and turn it into 12 one-week projects. Almost done here. Summary. Here we go. You guys that watch the channel, you know how I do this, okay? Here we go. So you didn't need to take any of the slides. Here we go. Help others achieve their goals. Serve, don't sell. An audience is greater and more valuable than customers. Treat them accordingly. To become an attractive character, you must be willing to risk being polarizing. And while the other ones are hoarding their secrets, you share all of your secrets. Out-teach the competition. Teach while you learn. Write your cookbook today. And seek progress, not perfection. Now, it's an amazing time to be alive, because there are no more gatekeepers, no more middle managers, and there's no better time to be alive. I'm going to send you off. Some of you are like, there's still some middle managers. I got it. Okay. I'm going to close it out with Gary Vaynerchuk, and he said that ideas are worthless. Execution is the game. Thank you very much, everybody.